The English Language Center at the University of Bahrain is delighted to feature Mr. Salim Zein. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Salim, who is the French video game creator of Academix, a new video game learning methodology and collaborative system. It was awarded several times for its innovation, and he collaborated with Tetsuya Mizuguchi in designing designing Escape. And in 2012, he founded his own company dedicated to making games for learners. His presentation is entitled, How Making Video Games Can Gather Teachers and Learners Online. If you have questions or comments during the presentation, please feel free to utilize the chat box. I will also remind you that we'll have a brief question and answer session at the end of the presentation. And I would also like to let the attendees know that we will be recording this session so that all of the information is available at the end of the webinar. So without any further ado, Mr. Salim, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. It's quite an honor to be invited by the University of Bahrain, which I know pretty well because I've been already 4 times in the last 4 years in Bahrain. And I'm always a great pleasure, and I regret that COVID-19 is impeding us to meet us again, but thanks God, video is doing the duty. So
yes, and as you said, it's allowed us to have almost 1,000 participants from 55 different countries. So even though it's a challenge, it has also offered some advantages. So we look forward to your presentation.
My pleasure. Can I share my screen? You know, my slides. Can you watch it now?
Right now we can't see it yet.
You don't see it? Do you or not?
We can't see it yet.
Oh yeah, what should I do? No idea.
At the very bottom, there should be a green box that says share screen.
Oh yeah, I see. Yes, okay. So if I bring now my presentation on Keynote, is it okay? Can you see it or not?
Yes, now we can see it.
Okay, so let me introduce you what brought me to do this. So my name is Salim Zein, I'm 53, I'm born here in my own Montpellier place, southern France. Montpellier is a big university city in south of France, equal distance to Italy and Spain, next from Mediterranean Sea. And it's famous for one thing, creative and entertainment industries. And, you know, one day I decided to blend both, you know, because basically I was a teacher, and to create something in between, a kind of crossover. So everything started this way. You know, I had this kind of students, you know, modern teenagers, very connected, with more power in their pocket than most of all the computer system of the schools, and lots of curiosity. And usually, you know, I mean, 8 years ago, most of my colleagues had a kind of, you know, not such an enthusiastic regard about what they were doing, and considering most of these geeks like this. So I had, you know, the inspiration that I could, you know, make something, a kind of crossover, blending both, you know, I mean, entertainment, creativity, and learning. And I created my own system named Academy. Academy, as its name might suggest, is a blend between creating games, using games for learning. So basically, to create digital content, and especially, you need 3 elements. All you need is not only love, but you need code, sound, and image. For example, to build simply a video game. So these were the basic promises. And very quickly, I felt that I could blend, you know, entertainment contents in my presentations to make it more entertaining, you know, and to get more, you know, a better student connection. And it worked pretty well. Actually, I brought this idea, this concept, basically, at first it was just a concept, to many prizes and awards, which by my own surprise got really a big interest. You know, so I got some awards. This is at the French Senate. I got the City Talents Prize, you know, in 2014. then other prizes, but quickly, you know, beyond these achievements, I needed really to test if my methodology, my ideas could make sense in a real school area. So we are instead in Montpellier, you know, this city. Actually, now it doesn't look so crowded because of COVID-19. It's different, but basically it should look like this at the evening. And this is actually the basic system I thought to do. Basically, it was going to from different schools and to create this. We could create games, we could create animation, everything. And okay, in 5 years, you know, we reached 70 different schools. We worked with 67 schools. We touched 100 teachers. We trained as internship 120 young professionals, and we worked with 2,500 students from 12 to 18. And well, we had even, you know, the achievement to be received at the French presidents to congratulate us about the methodology, but that was it. And in 2015, we got even other prizes, and we eventually created our own junior studio where we could build our video game contents. It sounds like heaven, but what happened in this year, 2020? Actually, we heard in the news about this weird virus somewhere in China, far, far, far away from us, but finally got so quick to us that I remember very well what happened at the beginning of this last March 2020. I gathered my team in my office because we were just about the lockdown, the first lockdown in France from March to May. And all our, you know, plans were canceled. We couldn't make our games in the studio. We couldn't do the usual workshops in various places in France or even overseas. You know, I remember now, you know, basically we had a planned, you know, hackathon in November in Bahrain. Of course, it's been canceled. And so I felt in March that we had to do something else, something different, but to keep, you know, to be ourselves. So what happened? You know, I gathered my team. I told them, "Hey guys, we have two solutions. We can stay quiet in our homes, waiting, and we will probably disappear after the lockdown." I was really, you know, embarrassed and upset with this, and I felt we need to do something else, something connected, something online, something to get the people together, all together. So basically, the COVID pushed us to become the future and to think with the future. So I decided, okay, let's do a weekly video game jam where big professional video game makers will send a message every Monday, because the usual school week in France starts on Monday, and they will launch it, you know, a subject, and our team of trainers and teachers will give online lessons using, you know, simple, you know, engines like Scratch or Unity, and drawing, you know, lessons as well using Photoshop or Krita or the Adobe Suite, and you know, let's do it online. I decided to call it the Homeland Game Summit. It should have started just for 1 week. It actually lasted 11 weeks, and we had every week a different guest country. So we started with our first guest from the US. Here he is.
Bonjour, my name is Chris Foster, and I was the lead designer of the Beatles rock band. And I'm here to announce the theme for the first jam of the Home Alone Game Summit, brought to you by the association ECDC. ECDC is from Montpellier, southern France. It's a non-profit organization supporting education by making video games. I've been making video games for over 25 years, and one of the most important experiences of my game developer life was working on the Beatles rock. And one of the most interesting parts of the Beatles rock band that was unique among the rock band games at the time was that it let up to 3 people sing together. Their voices intertwining, playing all the different notes in the complex Beatles music. And that feeling of singing with others was a unique type of joy, of the same type of pleasure and fun that all the rock band games and all music games do, of togetherness and joy. And joy and a certain type of togetherness are something we really need these days. So inspired by that game and that experience, the theme for the first jam of the Home Alone Game Summit is harmony. Good luck.
So it started this way. And during all the week, we opened Discord. And instead of using difficult, not expensive, tools, we used very basic stuff. We used Discord. We used what we had, mostly, Discord is an online platform, where you can create it with forums, allowing lots of interaction between makers. So we promoted this concept in schools, they were closed, but we used, the headmaster networks. And actually we had many, up to 400 participants every week to a challenge, and we gave online lessons, and it was very catchy. And at the same time, our team of young professional makers and some students build bigger games, inspired by the creativity of kids. And we had many different teachers. I mean, teachers not only of tech, not only of mathematics, but we had language teacher, gave us input, for the script making. So it was really a very interesting concept. So this is the kind of games we had. This one name was Catastrophe. So it's a mix between French and English. Catastrophe, it means like something like what's catastrophe in English? I don't know, like a nightmare. Anyway, so it was actually it was very positive and very creative. And eventually, we followed with inspiration, and we had, we used all the connection we had in the world. And naturally, we got our big friends of the UDS. And it will make sense to support one of our weeks of the Home Alone Game Summit. Here it is. Okay, sorry.
Hello and welcome to this week's Home Alone Game Summit. And this week's special guest is me, Mahmoud Safani, and
Me, Nafandela.
we're founders of Regnum Studio, and I specialize in game development and game design.
And I specialize in anything business and art.
And together we've worked on an award-winning game called Apollo X. Here's a little bit of it.
So actually, as you recognize, it was actually the UDS, Unity Development Syndicate from Bahrain, who were the participants of this week. So it was very exciting to have our friends from Bahrain to create this, creative session of game learning online. And eventually, because the connection was very good, it was very interesting, we decided to promote the creation of a game, a video game, original video game, in between, during this week. It was made just during this week. It was a quick work. We created together a game made in between Bahrain and Montpellier. So this is what happened. We named it O2, O for actually the region of Montpellier is named Occitanie, and 2 for the 2 seas of Bahrain. So O2 was the name of the game, and we decided to involve, in the game some cultural and architectural elements of Bahrain. Look at it. So you will recognize on this arcade game, these are fixed screens, some of your local architecture. So you can recognize a bit of the World Trade Center, and as well the Bahrain Harbor building, and also, no publicity intended, the Windham Grand Hotel for its architecture. So actually, lots of people here in Montpellier had absolutely no clue about where was Bahrain. And for us, it was also a way to show our ability to create art, in the Bahrain style. So it was very successful. It was a very interesting experience. So now I will end my slide part, and let me see. How can I? Yes. Okay. So I'm back in the screen. Can you see me again? I hope. Yes. So now what I will try to explain you is actually this kind of interactivity, has been, founded by the emergency of a situation. If the COVID did not happen, we wouldn't have been so creative, so we couldn't be so reactive as well, because since we couldn't meet each other, we had to invent the future. And actually, this event, during the COVID-19 crisis, has shown us that actually our barriers were mostly in our heads than in the reality, because we have the tools, we have the networks, and everything we were usually doing, as a classic workshop could be done online. So actually, our destinies have evolved with this part. So this is really something that changed, our ways to think and our way to work. And even now France is under another new lockdown. It started 2 weeks ago. And we are restarted this week another Homeland Game Summit. And we still have to convince some schools that what we are doing is not playing video games, but we are actually creating with code, drawings, and sounds, actual, it sounds very much like a prototype company project. Making a video game is a very interesting way to show students and teachers a way to work on a collaborative way, and especially because they are, at distances, you feel more to cooperate with people since you feel alone. And this is one of the lessons we learned from this part. So it really changed the rules. It really changed our way to think, and somehow it helped us to evolve our ways to work. So what I would like now to explain is actually, sometimes people ask me, will you create video games to help learning? And I think that the lesson I can keep from this event, from the Homeland Game Summit, that it happened to be way more interesting to build video games than rather to just play it. Actually, the fact to be on an open book to create, and that we are, doing a kind of reverse classroom, just by making the content we are studying, all together, really change, the way we were originally thinking. And I think it's quite an achievement, And we had some, growing talents that appeared, because every Sunday evening we were gathering the participants on an online live review of the games made during the session. And I was really surprised to see, you know, some people got, you know, we had people contacting us after this, telling us, well, I changed my mind by following your online course, because I was thinking that coding was just, you know, an extension of my mathematics and physics, but actually I could see that I could make a job out of it. And for us, I think it's the best reward is we just not only made games during the session, we actually inspired some people for further orientation and to become the professionals, the digital professionals of tomorrow. So that was, you know, really something for us. It meant a lot for us. Anyway, I might ask if there are some questions and interaction from people listening, because I'm talking again, but I see 114 participants connected now. So if there are, I don't know what does it happen, because I can talk up to the end. Let me know. Okay. So let me explain you now what is our future. You know, our future, because some people ask me now. I have, for example, some students doing currently an MBA into digital marketing. You know, students from Russia who asked me if we could duplicate the system overseas, and I think that what we are doing nowadays is proving us that there are no barriers. Before, you know, when you were, okay, yes, I see a question and answer. Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. It's Omnia Leres. Okay. You know, we really thought that we could, you know, do something, you know, and actually the results went way beyond our expectations. The result at the end were really something that really inspired us to go further, and that was it. Now, if I have a wish, you know, my wish would be in the future, yes. Oh yes, I see a question from Mr. Nureddin Atiali. Do you face any resistance cultural or other from users, learners, or teachers? Oh yeah, I'm answering if I face any resistance cultural or other from users, learners, and teachers. Resistance is everywhere. But, you know, at the very beginning, you know, when I started this Academy project, I was actually outsourcing you know, stock video games used as pedagogical content. And I remember my first idea, it was very disruptive, was to bring a PlayStation in classroom and to use some video game contents as examples to my teaching. And I remember some guys looked at me, are you nuts? Do you pretend really that you will bring a video game system into classroom? I said, yeah, why not? Let's go. I remember another story, you know, even in the video game industry, because, you know, I didn't told you my own, you know, learning, because, you know, I started using video games 8 years ago as a pedagogical tool. And since I felt that I couldn't not only always break the rules, I had to learn it a bit. So I did actually a master's degree into game design to understand more about this. And I remember I had once a meeting with some officials from French company Ubisoft who told me, I told them, sorry, come on, you are creating these amazing 3D worlds showing Egypt, showing Greece, showing, you know, like Assassin's Creed. And I asked them, come on, why the hell are you creating these huge worlds and it stays closed in the box? Why the students cannot enter it? And I remember one of the officials told me, are you kidding us? And you know, I don't know. I don't mean to be a visionary, but you know what has done recently Ubisoft? They created a virtual gallery in their Egypt game with the British Museum recently. So I don't know. I had this vision and things can happen.
That's excellent. Thank you so much. We also have one more question. What do you think is the biggest obstacle to using gaming in a higher education classroom?
The obstacle is, well, first, the parents. The parents pay for school and they are thinking that, you know, my kid is playing so many video games at home, he won't play at school. So actually, I think it's an interaction between the headmaster, between the pedagogical team and the parents. You know, you have to not only to educate the kids and the students are the least difficult to educate. You have first to educate the leaders, to convince them.
That's so true. And we've already, as we've talked about, so many of our presentations have been about increasing critical thinking skills, increasing autonomy, increasing motivation and student engagement. And your presentation brings up a lot of these issues about how gaming can actually influence and directly impact some of those desires.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your thought-provoking presentation. We really appreciate all of your insight.
I hope to come back to Bahrain to even, I wish, you know, to come back to do a video game making workshop in your wonderful university.
We would love to facilitate having that happen, and we look forward to future discussions with you.
I've been invited before by Dr. Mazen, you know, so yeah, I remember that. I was over the French embassy.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
My pleasure. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.